Oh yeah, hi, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Day 9 Daily number 357. Bam. We're looking at IdrA versus Puma. And in this game, we see both of them playing extraordinarily well. Part 1 was the opening, Part 2 was the mid-game and all those considerations. And now we are on to Part 3, fa-boom! Now, what is really cool to me at this point is both players have been playing, just in terms of nice, straight-up standards, brilliantly. Absolutely, totally brilliantly. There's been some attacks, not crazy aggression by both, just good, solid, straightforward aggression. And what I'm going to argue coming up is that our Zerg player IdrA chooses to engage the Terran player head-on and to defend the Terran player whenever the Terran player moves out to attack. And brilliantly in those engagements, IdrA does control his army. Brilliantly positioning his broodlords, his fungal growths, his mutalisks darting in and out, sniping things. It's very impressive to see the way that IdrA can get the advantage in those direct confrontations. But I will argue, as we'll see in this game, that some counterattacking really needed to come into the picture, and that there were huge, gigantic, glaring vulnerabilities in Puma's play that seem completely overlooked. And this is the problem with beautiful, close games like this one, is that it can conceal what should have gone properly. Again, this expansion positioning just makes my face bleed. It makes my face artificially cover itself with blood. I like that voice. Yeah. Now, this is one of the most brilliant moves that IdrA did all game long. One Infester, 100 minerals, 150 gas, never even hotkeyed, just sends him up here to begin harassing this worker line. Absolutely, stunningly brilliant. Throws down some fungal growth for some guaranteed kills. I kind of would prefer infested Terrans here, just throwing down 2, maybe 3. They do really do a ridiculous amount of damage. So we're going to see our Terran buddy, again, kind of move out to do a little push down to this bottom side. As he's doing this push, hey, we see a whole bunch of mutalisks over here. That's our sign to just go, because we already know where the positioning is. We already have control of this watchtower. And while that's going on, why not do a drop up at the top side? Maybe something like that is coming up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, look at that. Look how cool that is. Now, I generally have notes for these dailies, but for this moment, I just trust that Puma's a good player. As he's moving here, oh yeah, look at that. Moving over to attack this side. Increasingly do those sorts of drop plays, because, you know what? Like, when Zerg has a largely Broodlord Infester army, you just crush him by being in a lot of places at once. But come to the unit counting station with me, journey with me, and just note that there's 28 Zerglings and 9 Mutalisks and 6 Banelings. That's not really that much. Most of our army is in these Broodlords and in these Infestors. But come check out the front of Puma's base with me. Not producing barracks, an empty front, nothing here. The main is totally open. There's 4 Marines here defending this. And yes, we have some infested Terrans doing some funny monkey business. But overall, there's so much focus down here. There's so freaking damn much focus down here. And even little basic things like covering this half of the map with speed overlords doesn't happen. Look at this whole army being pulled into exactly one location. The Mutalisks, Lings, and Banelings can separate and defend this attack. This expansion should at the very least be dead. And IdrA does, again, a very nice job of controlling this. Hits every single Viking. There is a little bit of a spread that he needed, but a touch too late. Barely being able to engage this. Totally wide open main. Absolutely, completely wide open. This is kind of a trick that Terrans can play on Zergs by being so aggressive and so in your face and making this army so big that your brain just goes, my God, I can't deal with that. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, even note that at the end of the day, Puma hit his goal of killing this expansion off. But IdrA doing a good job managing DOS expansions. Alright, where should IdrA expand to next? Bingo, right there. That's the good place to expand to. Why is this a good place to expand to? Why do I like here more than here? Why do I like this more than that? Come on. Come on. Come on. I have a fork. Easy to defend. Kind of. I mean, if I put my units at any location, it's easy to defend. Let's see here. There's no ledges. Okay, kind of there. Let's see. Army location. No cliff. Easy to defend. Easy to defend. Oh, what? You put your broodlords there. What else is there? It's not quite there. It's not quite there. It isn't. And the Terran has to commit to the attack. Kind of there. Let me see here. Oh, I think I saw it. 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 Ha! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes, it was right there. I'm even going to do a search for it. Yes! Yes! Okono Shine lets you easily pressure Terran's only mining base. Yes! That is exactly right. We have primarily a slow army. This is our main meat army. It is slow. If we position ourselves up at the top, and the top left at 1 o'clock and at, I don't know, 11:45 o'clock. Notice that if you just come to the mini-map with me, look at the area that we need to defend. Right here, where my mouse is where most of our stuff will need to be positioned. Right there. We can easily lay siege to this expansion. Easily lay siege right there. That, I think, really makes this kind of a clear choice. If we had a really fast Mutilus Zergling army, re-expand here, and focus on counterattacking here. IdrA again doing a nice job managing the south expansion, managing this right expansion. Right now, IdrA isn't just going to be expanding at all. I think he eventually ends up retaking that. So IdrA ends up going for this engagement. He has, I guess a metric fuckload of broodlords. I think that's a number, right? That's like times 10 is like a lot. It's pretty big. IdrA going to go ahead and go for this push. I like that there's no expansion here right now. I actually like that quite a bit. That seems good to me. We're just going to make a shove straight up at the front door. And again, because both these players are just so good, IdrA is not quite able to break through it. Continuing to harass this expansion quite well. Pretty sweet engagement. And I think at some point IdrA takes this expansion. This expansion is very similar to this expansion. This expansion is a little bit better because it's tucked back farther. We have a little bit more room to reinforce. But, again, if this army were just kind of here and attacking down this way, I think I'd like that a little bit better. This side doesn't cover our top expansion as well. And, I mean, just as a sort of simple logic, if your opponent has largely broodlords and, 9 Mutalisks, drops are just way better. MVP, I think, was one of the first Terrans to just say, yeah, once my opponent gets broodlords, I start only using my medevacs for dropping. Look at that. There's not even a medevac down here anywhere remotely close. Yeah, let's drop. Let's go drop. Crazy. Are we doing a drop here? Yeah, you see, I don't so much like that positioning. It's kind of spreading us out a good bit. And again, using our nice fast units to be very ninja-y. This expansion, smartest move for late game thus far. Continuing to send units down there. Sucks that they're on patrol, but hey. Overall, looking good. Queen Broodlord, yada 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 yada, schmaka bleka blaka, etc. etc. Expansion is seen, expansion is defended, still doing some kills. Assassin Infester, he's going to be a metamorph soon. Still like how freed up that expansion is. Still like how extremely wide open and vulnerable this expansion is. Imagine all these units just going down here. And you might say, but day 9, he won't know that. What if he starts moving and there's like 2 Thors here? Well, gee, I don't know. Maybe you should just research the speed upgrade for Overlords. Maybe you can just use that Overseer that you got early on to just plop out a bunch of these guys. What the hell are they called? Changelings. And just kind of poke and prod here. Being aware of how many vulnerabilities a Terran has when he is this spread out on bases is huge. Even in their previous game on Shattered Temple, IdrA was doing a better job. Not infested worms, Nidus worms, in the back of the base. Why? Because Terran needs to keep his whole army packed tight together to be able to hope to combat this insanely powerful Broodlord Infestor force. Like, really desperately needs to do that. IdrA did not really have that many mining expansions. Nor does Puma. More fungal growth's going down. Good stuff. Hey, yeah, you know, this is the right idea, trying to move down to take out this base. A misstep, though. A big misstep, as you could tell by, you know, everything dying within a matter of seconds. Mobile Force helping us deal with all this aggression, seeing this expansion end up plopping down. And then going for it, but they're on regular attack, and it doesn't end up working out properly. So now we're in a little bit of a bind. We kind of have let our Terran player get up 2 bases. We should be manipulating his army one way or another. I think IdrA is just going to go for the kill with these Corruptors. But as he's getting more Zerglings and Mutalisks up, we want to think a little bit more later on down the road. How we want to use this army. Right now, IdrA has an army that is all about staying tight on bases. Again, what is the most important thing late game? Thinking about your expansions. Getting more expansions, killing off your opponent's expansions. How do you secure expansions with this thing? Build a lot of spine crawlers. You better be going nuts on spine crawlers because this army is never going to be near one of your expansions. You want to have your expansions close together, not spread out. Mutalist Zergling, have your expansions spread all the way out and do a lot of counterattacking. That's the way you're going to take out expansions. And the way that you're going to take out expansions with this force is just straight brute strength right down the middle lane. Puma doing some good stuff, having the siege tanks kind of far forward. IdrA straight up just goes for the exchange and comes out kinda dead even to his opponent. Alright, cool. We have 6 Corruptors, 6 Infestors, some Zerglings out. Are Zerglings 3-3? I'm pretty damn sure they are. Yep, there they are. What to do now? Now is not the time to go back to Broodlord Infestor. Now is the time, if your opponent is sufficiently low on units, as he should be, you should begin going Mutiling. Damn it, why are you expanding there? It's the worst place ever. This is where you kind of need to expand. Or now if you want to go for a Mutiling composition, up here seems good, up here seems good, all the way down at that bottom left seems not so good. Spreading them out. Puma hitting the left base, so that way he can secure this bottom one. IdrA going for these sorts of counters. Great, look at that. Went for a counter, teased a counter. Absolutely fine. Hey, look at this. Big push at the left, killing off the worst place expansion of all time. No, worst place ever. But then also, what the hell? There's, 8 Marines and nothing. Nothing at all. What's up here? Bunch of guys not in a bunker. And there's been no attempt to go do that. Again, there's that sort of RTS instincts that kick in where you're starting to go, shit, he might be ahead on expansions. I gotta kill his expansions. But everything late game is about killing expansions. So right now this game is looking really close. Could have been a lot less close with some other counterattacks going on. We see a Broodlord getting made. I do not like this Broodlord decision. You want mobile forces. Watch how this mobile force is going to be able to work out so great. Look at this. A lot of speed Zerglings. Really fast army. Hey, this is one of the better defended places of the game right now. And we just cracked it. And we're just going to do a huge amount of damage. We are going to suicide all our Infestors in there, which is, you know, not so good. But these are, again, not very mobile. If this was Mutiling and just overran and backed out, we'd be in good shape. And finally now taking this expansion. This is going to allow us to lock this down solid if we do have a lot of good Broodlord stuff. Even Mutalisks can harass this and bounce back and forth here like this and do great amounts of damage. And it forces our opponent, again, to try to attack up this way, giving us a chance to counter down here. Really, really, really think that this was the big key to this game. Because now look at Puma. All the way down here defending. Safest place on the map. Still really vulnerable. Metamorph Infestor. The big hero of the game. Zergling's moving out. And wait a minute. Maybe I can just go kill off this expand... Oh, no, wait, there's a drop. See, Terran? Tricky, tricky, tricky. Always trying to fool ya. Always trying to convince ya that you can't be attacking. Wouldn't it be great if we had like some Mutalisks up instead of this sort of slow, unwieldy Broodlord? Some Mutiling Baneling seem pretty darn good right now. We're a little bit low on geysers. Let's see, we have 2 geysers. Okay, good, great. No, 4 geysers. Hey, that seems pretty good. 4 geysers can support a pretty decent amount of Mutalisk production. It is indeed not so crazy to make said statement. And now we put a Broodlord up here. A Broodlord doing the damage. And after a long series of exchanges, still like to note that, hey, engaging here, incidentally, ends up being the correct decision. This bottom expansion still has a whole lot of vulnerability to it. We can start, as this army moves up here to kill this off, we can move down here, take this out, and retake this expansion. A lot of fun, funky, wubulous expansion taking. And all it takes is one really nice engagement for Zerg to be in fantastic shape. Just absolutely stunningly fantastic shape. Cruppers end up swinging on in the line, taking them out. Yeah. And that wraps up the game. Really fun, intense game. A lot of great stuff going on, but there were 2 or 3 moments kind of after the 22-minute mark where it was like, oh man, Puma was actually having some big holes there that we could have exploited. IdrA controlled a lot of those in-game battles brilliantly, how to sort of dance his units in and out. And it's so easy to look at that and be like, man, that was the shit. He don't do more of that. Yeah, do more of that, and do more of other things that will allow you to continue to extend that sort of advantage. A few less Mutalisks there, I think would have given him some more opportunities in that there mid-game. Yeah. So now what I want to do is just take questions from y'all. I just want to take questions. Clear the question grabber. As I drink water from this canister that's about the size of my face. A face-sized glass. It's probably, still probably like a medium at McDonald's. Refresh. Yeah. Sun Tzu was saying, Dear Day 9, you were saying that IdrA should have taken the top right natural. Wouldn't that allow Puma to push along the right side and siege tanks below the cliff? Yeah. It would have allowed for the tanks to come up here and do some damage, which is less than ideal. Kind of one of the reasons why I really, really like this expansion instead. But still, if we're going Broodlord Infestor, like, I think it was maybe around this moment in gameplay where our army is... Where is it? Is that after the Broodlord engagement? I think maybe at the 27-minute mark. When do we have 14 Broodlords? Is it at the 33-minute mark? When did we have 14 of them? There we go. If we have this kind of army, and we're expanding here, it's safe by virtue of our composition. I mean, he can try to siege tanks up there, but I have a Broodlord there, and he's dead, and what else is he really going to do? Try to run up with some Vikings? Well, I can attack with the cliff and have my Infestors up on top, and now I'm really secure. If I was Mutalisk Zerglinging, this seems a little less good. I kind of like this a bit more. It relates back again to that army composition, which is why I really, really, really like that. We have the right army mix to secure this, and in particular, get some Broodlords and Infestors here, secured, locked down, yoink, murdering this, yoink, and now we can end up sort of slithering back down to mid and sort of working our way down, cutting off here, which again makes this expansion very vulnerable. Let's go ahead and take some more questions. Yeah. So Zen Slayby, Dear Day 9, what is a good way to control your opponent's bases as Protoss? It's less about explicit techniques. It's not like, oh, I'm Zerg, now I'm going to do my base controlling move. Or I'm going to build my base controlling units. It's that any unit composition can do it, and it's important to constantly think of things in that context. I'm going Mutalisk Zergling. I want far spread out base locations so I can do counterattacks, because counterattacking exploits how mobile my units are. If I have everything tight and packed together, that's basically declaring, please come attack me, and I want a direct, straight up fight with you. And Zergling Mutalisk is not so good in a straight up fight. So for instance, with Protoss, if you were trying to control your opponent's expansions and thinking that along those lines, you'll be faced with a situation where you can say, do I want to attack his natural? Or do I want to attack his third base? Do I want to attack his fourth base? Do I want to attack this gold expansion it's making? And this can help you really answer things clearly if you just ask yourself that question. What is the best expansion to take out? There's no clear rule. It's not like go for the best one or the newest one or the oldest one. It's given this circumstance and the unit mix that I have, what would be the obviously best choice? If you have like a really slow army, like a Colossus, Immortal Archon force, you're probably going to want to go for whatever's closest. That seems to make most sense. If you're going for a really nimble force, you want to do things where you like push him back and then cut all the way back along towards the base you want to take out. War prisms are another really good technique. Attack and cut back so that way the expansion you're trying to take is behind you. Cool stuff. What are some other questions? Paxo says, Dear Day 9, do you that's the wrong question. Where was it? Rick J. Star, Dear Day 9, what is the best way to learn to multitask as well as a pro? Wait for next week's Newbie Tuesday. We're going to have drills. Let's see here. Strict says, Dear Day 9, we saw Zergs in the GSL like Leenock remax with a very slow building force such as Broodlords and split map situations on maps like Metalopolis. Is this incorrect? Should they have remaxed with Mutiling in those situations? Sometimes they should remax, sometimes not. It's kind of important to note the process that allows you to get to Broodling and Fester. In particular, getting a maxed army with Mutiling Baneling and then losing half of it and replenishing that food with Broodlords and Infestors. That happens pretty commonly. And all of a sudden, if you get battered back down to 75 food, if you try to rebuild back up to the Broodlord force, you might not have enough time. In those games with Leenock, the ones that that you're referring to that I can't pull off my memory offhand, he may very well have been in a situation where he's like, yeah, well, Terran can't attack me and my bases are safe, so I'll be taking this huge force because I really need to kill off his gold expansion on Metalopolis, and a Broodlord Infestor force adequately allows me to do that. Yeah. Very, very dependent. Did you, Dear Day 9, your camera's out of focus on your face. Yeah, I kind of didn't reset the camera settings. It just updated drivers, and I wanted to be on time. Let's go ahead and take just one more question from Operator Binky. What a wonderful name. Operator Binky asks, what is the main turning point of this game? In my eyes, what is very exciting about this is that there was no really critical big turning point. I think the most essential thing was that Infestor on the right side that really kept messing with Puma, because as I come to the end of the game, I just want to note, look at how many workers have been killed off by E.G. IdrA. Holy crap. I mean, both of them are doing a lot of just general murdering, but 97 workers killed off in that game. I think that that was a big part of it. I think that another huge piece to the puzzle was the fact that IdrA kept taking that top expansion like clockwork, like really aggressively re-securing that one. And in most games, I'd probably say like 85 to 90% of games, there is a moment where it's and just collapse for one of the players. One player's push works, one player kills off an expansion, the other player doesn't lose an expansion. Pretty typical. But what's really nice to see in this game is that because they're both playing fundamentally well, they allowed the game to extend on. And if you get placed behind and you just do that good fundamental mid-game army movement, my expansion's behind my attack, managing his expansions. Do I have a slow army? Well, I should probably have be expanding towards my opponent. If I have a very fast, nimble army, probably expanding away from my opponent. How do I do counter-harassment in combination with my big push? Should I do that? These are the big questions for the mid-game that will allow you to be the best in the world. I'm done with the daily! Let's talk about what's up for Fun Day Monday next week. It will be the money, dump Fun Day Monday. So what I mean by that is that after the 5-minute mark, in a 2v2, only one of you may build units, and only the other one of you may build expansions. So submit that to Monday at day9.tv. Again, a 2v2, where after the 5-minute mark, only one of you builds units, and the other one may only build expansions. Yeah. So that way, the one who's expanding a lot is money dumping to the unit building one. Submit to Monday at day9.tv. For Newbie Tuesday, I have some special drills planned. Woo! And then for Sunday, just something fucking awesome. See you then, y'all. Y'all's good. Go ahead and watch that there IPL. It was awesome. Woo!